Hey everybody, welcome to Steel City Phantom. It's been a while since we've been talking.
Talkin
Talk.
Anime.
Yeah, I was about to set you up.
Sorry.
It is Talking Anime. It is me and Justin. It is Tuesday or some shit. Right? Isn't it Tuesday?
It's Tuesday.
Dawn's been super busy.
It took me forever to get through Whole Cake.
It did take you a lot to get through this one. We were going to talk about Zoe, but we never really got around to Zoe talking about it. So we just kind of did the we did the reaction video.
Yeah.
I got back from vacation. We did do that.
Yep.
To the trailer, and those always do well. But you finally finished Whole Cake.
Yep.
You struggled with this one.
It took me 44 days. This is the longest by far.
And I did it in 43 days. No, would I do it in 34 days?
34, 36, something like that. I know you beat me by quite a bit.
You. Yeah, by quite a bit. This is the only one I ever beat him in, folks. 36 days.
I went back.
Well, you had some shit through all this. Like your air condition broke. Your house got flooded. I mean, you had like a lost power. You had a whole bunch of shit happen to you.
Yeah.
So that kind of delayed you a little bit. If we're gonna put an asterisk next to the win that I got.
No, we don't need to put an asterisk. It's still, I could have.
Those wins that I have asterisks next to them.
Let's put it this way. When I found out you beat me on Whole Cake, I sent you a text message and I vowed I'm going to finish up to episode 1000 in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, you went fucking crazy then, and you watched 22 episodes.
Yeah, so in the next 3 days, I've watched 22 episodes of Wano.
Yeah, you're crazy. You're mental doing that shit.
It's good.
Wano is good, but we're not in Wano right now.
No, we're talking Whole Cake in the land of Toto Land.
Toto Land. Wano, yeah, you'll enjoy it. Wano's good. But right now, the last time we talked, you had just finished Dressrosa.
Yep, and we did Dressrosa, and then we did the little Silvermine arc thing at the very beginning.
We did. We took care of Silvermine, right?
Yep.
So now we're on in our journey. We're on to Zoe. Zoe is not an island. It's a giant elephant called Zanisha. Zanisha, whose eyes are so kind of like dried out from like just being old, living in the sea, in the salt water and everything. You can't even see its eyes anymore. They're like sunk into its head, which is really weird.
Millennia old.
Yeah, it's so old. I don't even think people remember when it first arrived. And it's so hard to find Zanisha because it just walks basically
endlessly
around, and it must just do the same lap because like it's kind of in the same area. You never see it like in the East Blue or it's not. And you would think it would have to stay in water that like was the same kind of like height. Because if it hit like a very deep trench that was like a mile deep or whatever, it would sink then.
Well, a mile deep for Zanisha wouldn't be all that bad. I looked it up. It's 21 miles tall.
Is it?
That's how tall Zanisha is. 21 miles tall.
Well, I guess there wouldn't really be. I don't know. What's the biggest, deepest hole in
the Mariana Trench is about 11 miles deep?
So it could walk around the whole ocean.
Yeah, pretty much.
That seems insanely tall.
36,000 feet.
Yes.
Is the full depth, which is about 7.5 miles deep.
Yeah, that doesn't seem right to Zanisha's 21 miles high.
I looked it up today. 35,000 kilometers.
That's fucking nuts.
Or 35,000 meters, not kilometers. 35,000 meters.
Okay. Which is 21 miles.
Yep. Roughly 21 miles.
Wow. It's nuts.
It's ridiculous.
So it's a huge thing. It has an island living on it, the island of Zoe, up above it. This thing is so tall. When it rains, it's usually just its snout goes in the water, grabs some of the water,
and sprays it over its back.
Yeah, and it causes like a fucking tidal wave. It's insane. We won't stay in Zoe too long. The basic premise of Zoe is the key things is you meet the minks.
The mink tribe. Yep.
Minks are any animal you could possibly think of in a humanoid form.
Yes.
There's cats, there's dogs, gorillas, giraffes. I mean, there's all kind of stuff. And
Bunnies.
it's not devil fruits.
No, they just are animals.
They're anamorphic people. Yeah, they're minks. Their land the entire time they're real worried that they don't like samurai. You have to hide the fact that like they have Kinemon and Conjuro with them because they're samurai, and they're led by two kings. One comes out at day, one comes out at night. Duke Dogstorm and Master Cat Viper, who I love those fucking things.
Those two guys are cool.
They're so great. They don't get along, so one rules the day, one rules the night.
From 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Master Cat Viper Dogstorm is the ruler, and then from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. it's Master Cat Viper.
It's Cat Viper, yep. So they have this like land, and they're protecting a secret, and then you get attacked by the Beast Pirates.
Jack shows up.
Yeah, Jack the Drought. Who his crazy devil fruit, he turns into a giant woolly mammoth.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
And the Beast Pirates do a good number on this island. I mean, they beat the shit out of Dogstorm and Cat Viper, cut Cat Viper's arm off, Dogstorm's leg off.
They poison them. They use some of Caesar's poison, and they poison the warriors.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I know a lot of them are. So the Straw Hats that were separated with Sanji and the gang, they show up. They help save some of the minks. They fight some of the Beast Pirates. So by the time Luffy gets there, they are like worshipped.
Yeah. The minks love Nami and Sanji and Brook.
The dogs love Brook. They think he's like Bones.
Yeah, because he's just the bones. They just love to chew on him.
Chopper. And who's Luffy with? He's with Kinemon, Conjuro. Who else does he show up with? When he leaves, because he's dropped off by Bartolomeo. He drops him off there. And it's Conjuro and Kinemon, Luffy. I think it's just those three. And then they hook back up. Because the rest of the Straw...
Momonosuke.
Yeah, is Momo there? No, Momo goes to Wano with the crew. No, Momo goes with Luffy. You're right.
Yeah. Because Kinemon won't let him out of his sight. It's Momo goes to Wano.
Momo's actually already there with the rest of the Straw Hats. Kinemon and them show back up. Because Momo wasn't in Dressrosa. Momo went with Nami and the gang over to there and fled from the Big Mom Pirates.
Yes, that's true. That's right. Okay.
So they all kind of hook up there. This is actually all the rest of the Straw Hats show up there. Yeah, that's right. Zoro and all the gang. They're all I got confused. We were past. Zoe happens before Whole Cake. Okay, yeah. So the whole crew's there because that's the last time they're all together. You got Zoro, everyone's there. Because remember, the only person that's not with him is Sanji. Because Sanji, obviously, what you find out later on is that Sanji's family had a bounty out for him. So.
No, Zoro. I don't think Zoro ever makes it to Zoe.
No, Zoro goes to Zoe. Zoro's in Zoe. He's sitting on the He's sitting on that elephant when they're riding around. They're like, we got to go save Sanji. And he's like, who gives a shit about Sanji? Remember? And they're like, Zoro. They're all mad at him. Because they don't leave for Wano till after Zoe when they're all reunited. Zoro's in Dressrosa with Luffy, along with Robin, Usopp, Frankie. They all go to Zoe with him.
Okay. And then when they split into 4 groups, Luffy, Brook, Pedro, Nami.
When they go to Whole Cake.
When they go to Whole Cake, and then Zoro goes on ahead. You're right.
Yeah.
And Zoro goes on ahead to Wano. Yeah.
Yeah. So the point of all of Zoe is really you find out about Raizo, who's another samurai who's actually a ninja, who's been living on the island. That's what the Beast Pirates were looking for, was Raizo.
Yes.
And they kept saying, we don't know who he is. He's not here. And then Luffy goes and blabs and says, hey, you guys, samurais are here, thinking that they're going to be like, we hate samurais, but really you find out that Dogstorm, Cat Viper, Kinemon, Conjuro are all allies of each other.
Old buddies.
They're all old friends. They're all allies. They reunite with Raizo, and they're all allies. They're all friends.
The Mink tribe was just that loyal that they let themselves get killed and beat up, protecting Raizo from the Beast Pirates.
Because the Minks and the people from Wano and the Samurai are all allies.
Yep.
There's a red poneglyph there.
The road poneglyph.
The road poneglyph that only Robin could read. So you get a lot. You find out that Gold D. Roger was on Zoe.
Mm-hmm. Came
to Zoe. There was a lot of important stuff that happened on Zoe. And it's basically just a uniting of, this is where you get Luffy's you get the big speech here where, they're trying to figure out, what are we going to do? How are we going to go take back Wano? How are we going to open the borders? And Luffy says, no, I'm not going to help. And then he gives Momo that pep talk speech.
Yeah.
Like, are you just a figurehead, or are you going to actually like fucking fight and do something? And the rest of them are like, oh, how can you speak to Lord Momonosuke like that? Like, what can you do? This is where you actually find out that Momo and Kinemon are not father and son.
Correct.
That Momo is Lord Kizuki Odin, who was the Shogun of Wano before Kaido.
He was the Daimyo.
Daimyo, Shogun, it's all the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he was all of it. He was the Shogun, he was the Daimyo, he was the king.
Okay.
He was the boss of Wano. You get more into that to find out what he is at. You're not there yet.
No.
But Kizuki Odin was the dude. He ran Wano. He was a badass. This is the same guy that traveled with Roger, traveled with Whitebeard. He did it all.
Yep.
And everyone loved him. Momo's his son. You're not really sure how that works because Odin's been gone a long time and Momo's a kid, but you get kind of a hint that there's some stuff going on there. You'll figure that out.
There's some crazy stuff going on.
So they're all allies, and they're all going to help take back Wano. But before they can do this, Sanji is captured by Capone Beji.
Well, they're captured, but he kind of agrees to go with him.
But like Capone Beji with his castle fruit traps everybody in his body, which is really weird, like a castle. And he's gonna kill the rest of them. He's not against like Sanji does the like I'll stay behind, you guys go, lets them escape.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'll go see my father, which answered the question when they met Bartolomeo and you saw that Sanji's updated Wano poster said wanted alive, not dead or alive.
Yep.
So they were confused, like, why does it say that? And you find out that Sanji's a Vinsmoke. The Vinsmokes are super powerful army named Jerema 66.
The leaders or the rulers of the North Blue.
Yeah, and they are like a huge empire. If you've ever watched Dragon Ball Z, this is the Red Ribbon Army, and these are the androids. It's the same kind of scenario. An army that runs the thing that people fight against, and they use technology, because these are not devil fruit users. These are not hockey users. They use technology. It's almost like this third power. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because their father did genetic experiments on them when they were babies, or maybe even before, maybe even while the mother was pregnant, but did genetic experiments, enhanced their speed, strength, durability, everything.
Yeah, he was a real treat, that guy.
Yeah, Judge Vince Smoke is grade A
tormenting your
asshole.
kids, doing all this shit to them. He was terrible.
Yeah, horrible. Why? Almost all the fathers I've seen so far in One Piece have been terrible, terrible fucking people.
Yeah, I mean, even Dragon, he never connects with his son. Yeah, it's pretty bad. They're all pretty bad. Pieces of shit.
Sabo's dad.
Sabo's dad, yeah, all of them. So from this, we get what Luffy dubs the Ninja Pirate Mink Samurai Alliance. Which is great. And then they go, of course, that's what he called it. And they got to put the ninja in there because Usopp and Chopper are obsessed with the ninja.
Yeah, and they're always that was one of the funniest episodes was when they finally meet up with Raizu, and Chopper and Luffy and Usopp are just like, do this ninja trick, do this ninja trick.
Yeah.
And he's like, I will not lower myself to parlor tricks for you. And they're like, oh, you just can't do them. You're not a real ninja. And so he goes and does everything they ask.
Yeah, it's great. They love him so much. Raizo of the Mist. With the biggest fucking head you've ever seen.
Oh, he is so strangely shaped. The only character that has a bigger head than him is Ivan.
Eva. Yeah, Eva has that.
Ivankov.
He has that gigantic fucking head too. There's some people that have gigantic heads.
Uh-huh.
And there's no real reason for it. They're just
no. Why does Apu have 37 joints in his arms?
Well, they're the long arm tribe. There is a long arm tribe.
But again, why?
Yeah, long arm tribe, long leg tribe,
long neck tribe.
Yeah, there's a lot of different tribes. I didn't know if there's a giant fucking head tribe, but
I don't know.
So from this alliance, they agree, hey, we're going to do all this. We're going to separate. Then you get Zoro, Usopp, Frankie,
Robin.
They leave with Kinemon, Kanjuro, most of the samurai. The only people that go with Luffy, because Luffy's like, I got to go get my crew member first. Yeah. I will help you, but I'm going to spend the next 160 episodes somewhere else. 3 years out of your life, I'm going to be gone, and taking care of my business over here. And they send with him Carrot. And I love Carrot. I think she's great.
Carrot's fantastic.
And Pedro, because Pedro and Peckham's were friends.
Yes.
And Pedro has sort of a grudge to bear against Whole Cake.
Yeah. And you find out that whole story.
Yeah. So they leave. They head for Whole Cake. We talked about the Vinsmokes. We talked about the Fire Tank Pirates, Capone Beji, and all them, who are currently an ally of Big Mom. They work for her.
Because Beji married Charlotte Chiffon.
Yeah. Chiffon is twin sisters with the girl from Thriller Bark, who also had the giant head. That was her twin sister. Her twin sister left, stopped a political marriage, and went and moved in with became a pirate over there, was living there, and Big Mom denounced her and then actually put a fucking hit out on her.
Yeah, Lola.
She put a hit on her. So let's talk a little bit about Big Mom first, because I think you just watched it, so you know her origin. Talk about her origin for a minute.
So yeah, Big Mom's origin is crazy. So when she was little, it seemed to me like she was born of giants, but her parents that they showed in the episode were normal people. So yeah. I don't know if she just was adopted or if there's something weird where
she's one of these people. There's just certain people in the One Piece world, like Kaido, like Big Mom, like Whitebeard, that are just, born differently.
Yeah, born different.
And they're powerful people.
But they took
even
her
before hockey or devil fruit power.
Yeah.
They are just badass.
Yeah, they're just big and powerful people. But yeah, they dropped her off as a 5 or 6 year old child. It it wasn't the same island. It's the giant island. I can't remember the name of it now.
Yeah, where all the giants are from. Yeah,
where all the giants are from, and she lived there for a little while. But she, even as a child, she would get these like she would just get food cravings. She calls them her hunger pangs. Mm-hmm. And she just destroyed their entire village one night because she wanted this dessert that somebody made, and she wasn't allowed to have it because
was that her? What'd she call that stupid dessert?
Well, it wasn't. That was like one of the first episodes when they get the whole cake when she
Krakenbush. Yeah.
But so she destroys this island.
When she gets that hunger, nothing can stop her. Even your own family, she'll kill you too. Yeah.
Yeah, unless she gets what she needs to eat. So they were gonna kill her. The giants on the island, they were gonna kill her, and this nun that lived there and kind of took care of the orphan children in the area, convinced them not to kill her, and she took her under her wing, but she promised to take her from the island. And so they went to this other abandoned island. They helped her build this new little village so that she could live with the kids and hopefully, raise these kids in a relatively safe environment, even though Charlotte Linlin was psychotic. So long story short, they're good for a little while, and then something happens. I can't remember. It's her birthday, and the kids make her a special dessert for her birthday, and then they show her they're all sitting around a campfire eating, and then they just kind of show her waking up the next day and no one else is there. And for a little while you think that they just kind of abandoned her.
Yeah.
But what you find out is she fucking ate everybody.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts.
And that also leads into that's how she got her devil fruit power, because the old nun lady that took care of her had the soul. I don't know what it's called, but she had
soul fruit. I think is what they call it. Yeah.
And what you discover is that if you eat a devil fruit user and you don't have a devil fruit yourself, you gain their devil fruit power.
Yeah, because you just absorb them.
Yeah. So that was freaking insane.
Yeah.
And then she just kind of goes on to be a menace.
Yeah, I mean, and she also has this thing where, so she'll sometimes, I guess, for power to expand her world, or other times it's just she'll find a guy, marry him. Not only does she have to have kids with him, she marries them.
Yep.
And then has a bunch of kids. So Big Mom's getting a lot of sex, and then has these kids, and then just fucks the guy off, get out of here. Yeah. Threatens to kill them, gets rid of them like they're nothing, moves on to the next one. And none of them know anything about their fathers. They're all just part of the Charlotte family. So they take her name, and they're just Charlotte Katakuri, Charlotte, a lot of food names.
Charlotte Cracker, Charlotte Pudding.
I mean, Charlotte Oven. Did they know he was going to get a firepower when he was first born?
I know.
And he was going to get a devil fruit like that? And you might get a devil fruit later on that makes you cook things, so I'm going to call you Charlotte Oven.
Well, I mean, technically she could be Doflamingo. One of his whole things for his crew, his family, was going around and seeking out devil fruits.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's possible she was the same way, because everybody in her family has a devil fruit. It seems like.
Yes, that's the thing with her family is everyone has something. Every single one of them has something. Some kind of ability, some kind of power, something that they do. I mean, I don't think Lola had one or Chiffon had one.
No, maybe not. And I don't know that. I think Pudding was just weird. No, she did have hers was the memory thing.
Yeah. So there was all sorts of things like that. Her family's real crazy. You get the idea that in her village in Whole Cake that it's a happy place where they also talk about like racial equality, that like no one's discriminated against here. You can be a mink, you can be a fishman, you can be whatever you want. Hell, Jimbei works for her, him and the Sun Pirates, and everything's like perfect.
All the races of the world are welcome except giants.
Yeah, except giants, and everything's perfect. But what you don't find out later is that the way her devil fruit power works, she meets with people, and if you decide to stay, she like sometimes can take years off your life.
Yeah, her soul power allows her to take away your life force.
And then the weirdest twist is she takes this life force and they can put it into any inanimate object or any element or anything, and it becomes alive. It's called a homie.
The homies.
So everything on Whole Cake is like alive.
Yeah,
like
the trees, the grass. I mean,
grass,
absolutely everything.
Rocks. I mean, not all of it, but a lot of it is like just alive and like
candy food.
Then she'll like make hot dogs come to life and just fucking eat them right in front of like right there, and they're like screaming as she's eating them. You know. She also meets like a thundercloud, a rain cloud. She gives it life, and she actually gave it more life than other things, because Zeus ends up being pretty powerful.
Yeah, Zeus is very powerful. And same thing with.
So I don't know what Prometheus was. He a star or a sun, or like how did she get him?
I think that the nun lady created Prometheus for her.
Yeah,
when she was a child.
Like yeah, it was very weird. But you have Prometheus. He's a sun, and both of them can power up really, really big, really crazy. And then she has Napoleon, which is her hat, her pirate hat, that turns into a sword. And not only a sword, but he turns into a sword from the land of the giants.
Yes.
It's like a real powerful blade. So it's really, really crazy. It's really convoluted. Like, I know we've been spending a lot of time. We haven't even got to like what happens there. But there's so much thing to lay out the way Whole Cake
lore in the backstory, yeah.
And the other thing that's really weird is when she wants to make a cake. So she wants Sanji, because he's a Vinsmoke, to marry her daughter Pudding.
Yes.
Which would merge the Jerma 66 army with the Big Mom pirates, making them pretty powerful.
Jerma thinks that it's going to be a merger.
That's what Jerma thinks. Yes, they think it's going to be a merger. That's what Jerma thinks. So, in order to do that, she's like, well, I have to have like the perfect wedding cake. So like you think it's like something like, well, they're just going to bake a cake. Instead, they're going to these places where like they get the best chocolate from and murdering everybody on the island to get the chocolate. Yeah. Like it's really extreme. Or like they have really good almonds here, and they just like destroy the whole island and take all the almonds. You know.
Yeah.
Like
it's nuts.
It's a lot of that weird stuff.
In the cake, by the way, it's not like, I mean, Big Mom is like 28 feet tall and like 25 feet wide. It's not your average, even probably celebrity wedding cake. This wedding cake is probably
like a building.
Yeah, it's like the size of a damn building.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, it's a lot of that. It's all the setup for it. You meet her whole family, her sons, who are like the older ones. She has something called the Sweet Three Generals, which are like her top tier kids. So like Katakuri's the top. Cracker, and then it was a different one who was defeated. I forget which one it was that was defeated. It might have been how do you say that one guy's name?
Daifuku,
I think it might have been him, because then Smoothie gets put in the Sweet Three spot.
Yes.
So that's how they work that out. It's like the Sweet Three Generals and everything that they do. So all that's the setup for it. You got Jinbei, who arrives on the island. Jinbei wants to leave because he wants to reunite with Luffy. And the Sun Pirates are very much like, yeah, that'd be great. you can do that, but he has to go get Big Mom's permission.
Because he is one of her. He has an alliance with her.
And Jinbei is the king on One Piece of making grand entrances.
Yes.
Like, it's so fucking great. Like, she's destroying a town for Krakenbush, and then here comes Jinbei, and he like comes in, saves the day, calms Big Mom down. It's a great entrance.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on you get a good one too. So Luffy and them arrive on the island. They try to approach Sanji. That doesn't go well. I think that's why you didn't like this episode or arc as much, because you get Sanji versus Luffy.
Yes, I have issues, and it's not just in One Piece. It's all storytelling. When friends are fighting against friends, even though there's a good reason for it, it bugs me when friends are against friends. So I had some issues.
You're a good guy. You don't like to see your friends fight.
So Nami. First you've got they end up in the I can't remember what they're called, in the woods around Big Mom's like town, and the homies there, the forest. They're just they can move, so they can change the layout of the forest like a giant labyrinth. And so you're constantly running in circles. Well, there's also another one of her kids that is able to basically capture your image in the mirror and then project your image onto one of the homies so that the homie looks and acts like you. It's like a mirror. And so they Luffy runs into Luffy. And so he has to technically kind of fight himself for a little bit. They end up running into a dude that has another giant head dude that's buried in the ground.
Well, that's Lola and
it turns out that that's Lola and Chiffon's father.
Yes.
That Big Mom had just planted, literally planted out in the middle of the homie forest.
Yeah.
What else did they run
into? Just kind of, I mean, just crazy shit. Like, it's really crazy how everything is, and then it starts to come down to them. The first obstacle Luffy has to go through is fighting Charlotte Cracker.
Yes. And Charlotte Cracker it's the biscuit fruit.
It's the dumbest fruit ever.
He controls cookies, basically. He can make biscuits, crackers, whatever you want to call them, appear out of thin air, and he can control them completely. So if he crumbles them up, he can still control all the crumbs. Well, he can create a whole goddamn suit of armor and automatons that are the same size as his suit of armor.
And facial hair.
And the whole thing.
Because he creates it, because when you first meet him, he's this big guy with like a shield and all this shit. And you're like, okay, this guy is like a big warrior. And like, it's like tough for Luffy to fight him and all this stuff. But then like, he cracks the armor open and like, oh, he's just like a normal sized guy. Like, I'm like, and he just keeps making these people. And it's like, how can you make all these fucking people? Like, I understand you have crackers and all this shit, but why do they turn into like human automaton? Like, it's just really strange.
It's weird. So this is actually during the cracker fight. This is the first appearance of Fourth Gear Tank Man.
Yes. Which
actually no, technically not. I read about this the other day. Technically, this was Fourth Gear stuffed Tank Man, because the way Luffy figures out how he can beat Cracker is he just eats all the fucking crackers.
He just starts eating all the crackers, and he's like, I'm just gonna sit here and eat all these crackers.
And so when he goes into his Fourth Gear form, he's almost the size of Big Mom, because he's just stuffed from eating all this
bloated
food.
And basically all this one is he just kind of like absorbs them into his stomach and then fires them out at a very violent rate, and he goes flying across the whole city through a building and is pretty much dead after that, because you never hear from him again.
Well, Big Mom probably killed him, because I think she killed the previous general that lost too.
She's a bit of a bitch.
So we get to see another Fourth Gear form. So after this fight,
that one was kind of dumb.
Yeah, a little bit. So after this fight, he literally had been fighting all night, overnight.
Yeah.
He and Nami are able to get out of the forest because Nami, if you remember from Thriller Bark, Nami had a Viver card for Big Mom that Lola had given her.
Yes.
And I don't know if Lola just forgot that Big Mom didn't like her, or if she didn't really know.
Well, I think Lola was supposed to get married in a political marriage. And then Lola was like, I'm not doing it, and just left.
Yeah.
And I think she thought, like, well, Mama will be, like, a little upset, but Mama, they all have this naive view of Big Mom. Yeah. They're all kind of like, well, it's Mama. Mama gets mad, but Mama loves us. Mama takes care of us. Because, she says nice things, but then she's like she's not. There is no good inside Big Mom whatsoever.
No.
Like, she may pretend like she loves things, but she really doesn't. She just wants to eat, wants to be satisfied, and doesn't want anyone to mess with her. Like, so I don't think Lola really knew, like, once she left, she was like, if I find her, I'm going to kill that bitch. Like, she's dead. She cost me a merger. I'll make sure she suffers. And they're like, Chiffon's like, holy shit. Like, you really don't like her,
Yeah. Well, anyway, long story short, she gave Nami, when Nami befriended her on Thriller Bark, she gave Nami a Viver card for Big Mom. And the Viver card, part of how you create that is part of your soul is inside the Viver card. So all of the homies basically have to listen to Nami while she's holding this Viver card, because the soul from the Viver card compels them to
they have to listen to her. Yeah.
They have to listen to her. So Nami uses that to get this giant walking tree to get her and Luffy out of the forest. Carrot and Chopper got sucked into the mirror world with Brûlée.
And that stupid tank guy, that weird stupid devil
fruit. The train tank guy.
Yeah, I turned into a train guy
and
somehow.
He's really fast.
Yeah. Really weird.
He was very similar to the guy from Silvermine, that the mine cart guy from Silvermine.
Yeah. Hey, I have this weird power, and yeah.
Anyway, they get out. They get out of the forest, and as they're coming out of the forest, going across this big field, they see Sanji's, like, his family's, like, train.
Yeah, they're like in a train, and they're on their way to meet Big Mom and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and Luffy is typical Luffy. Hey, Sanji, we're here.
It's the thing, Luffy. Yeah, he's innocent.
Yeah.
He doesn't really know hate or weird things or weird situations, so he just assumes, there's my brother. Yeah. I'm gonna go, like, hi him, and Sanji kicks him right in the fucking head.
He launches himself to the, like, car that Sanji's in, and he's like, hey man, come on, let's go, we're here to rescue you. And he just kicks him right in the face.
Breaks his heart.
And they have a fight, which Luffy refused to fight back. Sanji beats the shit out of him.
Luffy doesn't even move one time.
No, doesn't try and block, doesn't try and do anything. Just let Sanji pummel him.
Yeah.
And then it's
Sanji, like, I'm not going. He's very much like what Shanks taught him. Like, some fights you just don't fight. You don't engage. And, like, he knows that Sanji doesn't want to do that. He knows he's being forced to do that. So he's just kind of like, all right, that's what you need to do. Beat the fuck out of me.
Yeah. But he yells and he gives him the big speech, like, no matter what, Sanji, I'm going to wait right here for you. I'm not even going to eat until you come back and you serve me food. I can't move on without you. I can't be the king of the pirates without you. And I'm going to wait right here. And if you don't come back, I'm just going to starve.
It's heartbreaking.
It is. It's horrible.
It really is. It's really heartbreaking.
So
and then, like, his crew, like, they're just crying for him. Like their hearts are like broken for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're like, oh, Luffy, like he doesn't get it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And true to his word, he stays right there. And then, unfortunately, a couple of, not the generals, but a couple of Big Mom's more powerful subordinates and a whole army of the homies go out to the field, and Luffy tries to take him on, all hungry and just gets his ass handed to him again. He puts out some good blows.
Yeah, but they get captured and all that stuff happens. That stupid red nose guy has like a book power. There's a lot of devil fruits that you're like, what does this mean? Like, I get a rubber fruit and I get electric fruit, but you're like, your power's what? Like, you're what? Like, what do you do?
Doesn't make any sense.
Why make books and I trap you in books? You know?
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So
yeah, it's weird.
It all leads to another great Jinbei entrance because Jinbei comes in and saves him.
Well, we got to talk about what's going on before Jinbei comes in to save them, because he comes in at exactly the right moment. So
Luffy's trying to rip his arms off.
Yeah, they're in this like book prison, and it looks like they're almost being crucified. Him and Nami are.
And also then they take Nami, whose shirt gets unbuttoned. Then they have her arms hung behind her, and her boobs are barely almost hanging out, barely covered. It's really like unnecessary.
Yeah,
and Luffy Sea Prism Stone like handcuffed.
Yeah, and nailed it. No, he has his gum power. He just couldn't break through because his arms were pinned above his head. So he's struggling and pulling at the thing, trying to get loose, and he can't. So he has this brilliant idea. Well, if I can't get my hands loose, I'll just tear them off.
Yeah,
and it's horrifying because
it's like real disturbing. Yeah,
like spinning around trying to stretch his arms to the point where they're gonna like rip off.
Yeah,
and it's horrible. And then Jinbei shows up,
just makes such an entrance, and like it's so great because like there's some people that like, you know, Luffy's always excited when he sees Zoro.
Yeah,
but it's more like we're bros. Like he's like Zoro, hey Sanji, when he sees everybody like that. When he sees Jinbei's almost kind of like a dad to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A big mentor.
Yeah, because he sees him and he like hugs him all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like he has to go and give him like a like it's just his guy. You know, because if you think about it, everything he went through with Ace and all that, he didn't share that with the Straw Hats. He shared that with Jinbei.
Yeah.
Like that was his guy. That was his rock. That was the person that helped him out. Yeah. So it's a really good written, really good relationship as him and Jinbei.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So yeah, Jinbei makes the same. Even Nami's happy to see. Everyone's happy to see big old Jinbei. Lots of cool stuff happens. You actually find out that there's a road poneglyph there, and Brook's trying to sneak in to steal it. Him and Big Mom have a great fight, which you're kind of like, man, Brook, you know, like
Brook has some. I wish Brook would like unload more often, because he's got some power.
Yeah, he's got some stuff there that he experiments with, you know. So it's pretty neat. But he loses.
And Big Mom takes him as she likes to collect unique creatures.
And he's like a pet. So another great scene is
pet. He's like a doll.
He's like a doll. And then when they try to isn't it when they try to save him?
Yes. They get the mirror in Big Mom's bedroom, and
so they have this great running joke going that they have Charlotte Brule, who controls the mirror world. They have her kidnapped, and she's doing things for them begrudgingly, but she's working for them, along with the train guy who they have kidnapped also. Yeah. He's guiding them through the world. So they keep telling these stories about you know, how many people they have in their team and what they're doing. And they keep including the two members of the Charlotte Pirates as their allies. And Charlotte Brulee's just like, I am not your goddamn ally. Like, stop including me. And they're like, yeah, she's funny, isn't she? And they're just like, yeah, so anyway. And they just keep including her in these, you know, conversations. And it's a great running joke.
Yeah. So yeah, but then it's Pedro, Pedro, Carrot, Chopper, Nami, and Jinbei, and they're trying to rescue Brook from Big Mom while Big Mom is sleeping with Brook like he's a little doll.
Yeah, and you also have Prometheus and the rest and Zeus and everyone. They're all sleeping, and they do like this like a comedy skit where it's like attempt number 1, and it all goes bad
until Jinbei.
Yeah, until Jinbei does it, and they get him out.
Sunshine. It's sunshine, yo.